it's officially time to start the garden. It is now March, which is crazy. I can't believe we're finally into March, thank goodness. And for me in New England, Zone 6A, that marks the start of seed starting season, at least for my list of seeds, which is very long. It's a long list. I think we're at like 130 on my list, which is crazy. I can't even believe that. Oh, as a side note, I will say sometimes I just get overambitious and I get really excited because it's freezing cold and I'm ordering all my seeds and I'm like, I just want to grow it all. And then when we actually get into starting the seeds, I'm like, what have I done to myself? Where am I going to put this? But that's a future problem. So we don't have to figure that out right now. This will be my third season starting seeds indoors, and as you can imagine, I've learned a lot over the last few years. What works, what doesn't work, favorite materials, streamlining the process, all of those things. And before we actually get into planting seeds, I thought it would be fun to share with you kind of like what I'm working with, what my setup is, how I'm organized, what I'm using to grow things on the shelves, in case this is something you're interested in or you just like gardening and you want something to watch. This is my little corner of the basement where I start all of our seeds. Over here we have our grow lights and shelves, and behind me here is our workbench. On this side of the workbench, I use these plastic drawers to store any like little things that I need. So I've got permanent markers and I've got these little tongue depressors which I use for labels in the actual trays. I've got envelopes for seeds, I've got zip ties, I've got Velcro which I actually use once I go outside and I'm like tying things to trellises. So this is just a nice easy way to store little things and keep everything clean because these drawers are plastic and I can easily wash them out. I upgraded my organization system for my seed packets this year, and I invested in these plastic photo organizing containers. I think that's actually what they're used for. These were purchased from Michael's, I believe, but I've seen them at various different like container type organization craft stores. Inside there are 18 of these 4x6 containers, and as you can see they fit the seed packets perfectly, and then I've just added a label to the front of each of them and kind of organized by category. So now whenever I'm looking for a specific seed, I can just kind of scan the rows to find the category and just pull out the individual container. I also like that everything is contained in plastic and is completely sealed because we are working in the basement and every now and then critters find their way down here, and the seeds are a really nice snack for them. So this just keeps everything safe and secure. We have two sets of shelves here. There are 3 shelves on each that are set up for growing. I use the top and bottom shelves for storage, and this really helps keep me in check when it comes to growing all of these seeds. I can fit 2 trays on each shelf, so total we can fit 12 trays, and that is more than enough. That is plenty for our garden beds, and honestly if I was growing more than that, I don't think I'd be able to keep up with it. I find it a little bit tricky once we get all of the shelves full to stay on top of watering and then move everything in and out when we're starting to harden off. So this is really my limit and I find this manageable. Over here we have 4 heat mats. These are used really just for germination. Once the seeds germinate, we can turn the heat mats off. So I only have 4 because we kind of rotate them as we start seeds in batches. I use an automatic timer, so that way I don't even have to worry about the lights going on and off. This power strip has 2 sides. These 4 plugs are based off of the timer, and these 4 plugs are always on. So what I usually do is plug my heat mats into the always on because you don't want those turning off when you're trying to germinate seeds, and I plug the lights into the timer so that way they can have however much light they need, and when I'm done with the heat mats I can just unplug them. To hang the lights, we just use these little S-hooks and a short cut of chain. These particular lights have a metal clip here, which we can slip an S-hook right through. So this allows us to adjust the height of the lights to accommodate the height of the plants as they grow. Up top here, I store all of my trays, humidity domes, cell packs, containers, etc. I like to have a variety of sizes on hand because it just depends on the seed or how many of the seeds I want to grow. Again, we only have 6 shelves, so we can only work with 12 trays. So if I want to plant a lot of something like cosmos or zinnias, then I like to use the like 50 or 72 cell packs versus tomatoes, where I might grow those in a larger cup so that they have room to grow, because they'll get big fast. So it's nice to have a variety on hand, and we can kind of like pick and choose what we need for each different plant. So that's kind of like a high level quick scan of what we're working with here. If I glazed over anything that you want more details on, definitely leave a comment and I can try to fill you in as best I can. I will include links to some of the things I have for the seed setup here. All of my trays and the majority of my seeds are purchased from Johnny's. I will just include a link and you can have fun shopping, but I will warn you, it's a slippery slope. Once you start adding seeds to your cart, you might not stop. So enjoy, but yeah, buckle up. Now, to keep myself organized for the season, I use a tool called Notion, and I actually found a template someone else created called the garden template that helps me organize all of my seeds, the dates I need to plant them, and even allowed me to add images so that I can go to this nice little thumbnail view and see pictures of everything I'm planting this year. I really like this because oftentimes when you have as many seeds as I do, you forget what each one looks like. Sometimes you even forget what it is. Like, is it a pepper? Is it a tomato? Who even knows? So I did spend a decent amount of time setting this up. For me, it's worth it because it helps keep me organized. The nice thing about this template in particular is that you can toggle between these different views. So you can go to that thumbnail view or you can go to the table view. And here I have all kinds of details. So I've got the variety we're planting, I've got the category, I've got, a check mark for whether or not we're actually growing it this year, whether we're starting it ourselves, direct seeding, buying starts, or succession planting. I've got a column for whether it's an annual or perennial. And then over here I have dates. So we set the last frost date. For us, that's like the first weekend in May, I believe. And then we've kind of worked back from there to identify when we actually need to start each of these seeds. You can find that information on the seed packet or on the Johnny's website or wherever you're purchasing your seeds from. So for example, here I'm planting a red ember pepper, and that needs to be started 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost date. So here I've just put minus 7 weeks back, and that tells me I need to start it by March 15th. It's not a hard date, it's just a rough timing so that I can kind of keep myself in check and make sure I'm planting everything in batches. This might be a little overkill if you're just getting started, and really you don't need anything like that. You can just order your seed packets, put them in a container, and then read the seed packet when you're ready to start growing. I just find this easy because we're growing so many different things, and if I get behind, it builds a little bit of a backlog, which can be a little overwhelming. So you could use something like this. You could use an Excel spreadsheet. You could write it down on a piece of paper. You could have sticky notes. I mean, there are a million different ways to organize yourself, but mostly for me, it's just a matter of making sure I'm kind of working in batches. And especially when you're collaborating with someone else, it's kind of a single source of truth for us to both reference and make sure we're staying on top of things. Now we need to get started on seeds. So I have sorted my spreadsheet here to figure out what we need to start first. And like I said, I'm working in batches, so I'm only working on the things that need to be planted beginning of March, essentially. I was hoping to get to this last week and I didn't, so we have basically 2 weeks of seeds that we need to get started on. I've got a couple of herbs, some eucalyptus, snapdragons, which are my favorite. I'm so excited about those. Some delphiniums, which I actually purchased last year, but I never started them, so we're gonna try it and see what happens. And then I've got some pea shoots. I've never grown pea shoots. We actually got them in our CSA that we participated in last year, and I really enjoyed them. They're great for sandwiches, toast, soups, just anything that you might normally add greens to, and they're delicious and they're good for you. And so this year when I was shopping for my seeds and I got a little carried away, I was like, why not? Let's just try it. So we're gonna see how those do this year. And I think that's mostly it. Some of the herbs just take a really long time to grow. Not all of them, but I'm planting some rosemary, some thyme, some wild marjoram, and those just are slow growers. So the earlier you get them started, the better. And sometimes I'll grow things and be like, meh, it's not turning out the way I wanted it to, so I'll just ditch it. But that's the beauty of gardening. You can just pivot, do whatever you want, do whatever feels good in the moment. And best case, you end up with a garden full of stuff. Worst case, you don't get to grow everything you wanted, and that's okay too, because there's still always something else that will be growing, including weeds. One of the tools I have found most useful for seed starting are these Gorilla tubs. They're just flexible utility tubs, and I use them for all kinds of things, but down here I use them to mix the seed starting soil with water, so it's a little bit moist when we add it to the cell packs. If you put it in dry, it kind of resists the water when you try to water your plants later on. So if you start with moist soil, it just sets you up for success. So I use these. I'll just pour my seed starting mix in here, add a little bit of water, mix it with my hands, and then when it's just starting to get moist, you don't want it to be too wet. If it's too wet, you'll run the risk of mildew and mold growing, but once it's just starting to feel moist, then you can kind of pack it into the cell packs. I have tried a few different seed starting mixes, and at this point I've tried enough and there's not one that like truly stands out to me. Some are more expensive than others. I do try to go with organic when I can. In the past I've used this black and gold seedling, what is this called? Natural and organic seedling mix, and it's worked really well. If I were to recommend one, it would probably be this because I've had fairly good success with it in the last 2 years. This year I am trying something different only because it was available when I was at the garden center with my sister and I just wanted to get the job done, so I just picked it up while I was there. This year we're going to use Moose Start germinating mix. It is approved for organic farms. We're not an organic farm, but again, I try to stick with that when I can. My sister lives in Vermont, and I actually haven't found this at garden centers near us, so it might just be like a local product. I've definitely seen online you can order it, but ordering soil can be expensive because it's so heavy, and oftentimes you have to pay a steep shipping fee. So I am going to try this year, and I'll let you know how it goes. But truly, I would say any seed starting mix is honestly probably fine. Try a few different ones if you're curious to see if one works better than the other. But again, if you want a recommendation, I would go with this black and gold organic seedling mix. I used that all last year, and it was great. Okay, I have recruited Matt.
I'm Matt.
To help me with this. So the first thing we're going to do is get our soil moistened so we can, well, it's technically not soil, it's a soilless germination mix. But we're gonna moisten that up so that we can add it to the cell pack. I kind of hold this over it so that you can do this, and then I flip it to the other side and do this. You don't wanna like pack it in there, but you do wanna kind of press it in. So, before we start putting seeds in, I just use these tongue depressors that I cut in half and mark with a permanent marker what the actual seed variety is. Because once we get these planted, we're gonna have no idea what they are until they're fully mature. So this just helps remind me what I've planted so far. So I cut them in half because when we put the humidity domes over top, like this, if they're too tall, the dome won't sit flush to the tray. So I just like to cut them in half, and that way they fit better. I think you just press, you just put these on top of surface so, which means you literally just put them on top and then just gently press them in. Surface so. Oh my god. Alright, we're making progress. Patience. Sow seeds thickly. Okay. I guess I could just sprinkle them across the top and then we can add a little soil over them. You know what you can do? Just do that. Now that we have a few trays planted, I actually am going to give them a light water from the bottom, and then we are going to top them with these clear humidity domes, and that just kind of helps create a nice moist environment for the seeds to germinate in. So on the bottom we'll have a heat mat. This will kind of keep everything enclosed and just collect moisture. Once everything starts to germinate, then we can take these domes off and take them off the heat mats. To bottom water this, I'm actually trying out these new trays this year. They're a little thicker plastic and they're also more shallow, so they're a little easier to work with. And all you need to do is just, instead of watering from the top like you might traditionally, you just lift your seed cell pack and you add some water to the bottom of the tray. Just enough that it starts to collect. That's probably good. And then you just set your tray back in that water. At the bottom of the cell packs, I don't know how well you can see, but there are some holes. And when this is sitting in the water will absorb up through that hole from the bottom. If you water from the top when you've just planted your seeds, especially for the smaller ones, they can be displaced and just wash away. So we want to be really, really careful and make sure we're not disrupting them at all until they have a chance to germinate and start setting roots. This tray here is a little unique because in the middle here we have our pea shoots, and I actually think they need to be dark. So I've just covered those two trays with a bit of black plastic, just loosely, so that they can germinate. And then once the shoots start to lift a little bit, then we'll remove that plastic. I'm not sure if this will work. This is my first time growing these, so we'll just give it a try. We're doing a little experiment, but the rest of those are kind of, like normal. I also used a variety of different sizes in this tray, so these cell packs are smaller, these are taller, so the dome doesn't fit perfectly, but it's enough to help create a little bit of humidity, and really we're just trying to give it the best possible chance. We'll see how it works. So that's it for day one of seed starting. I feel like we covered a lot. I'm sure I missed many important details. So if there's anything you have more questions about or tips you want to share, definitely make sure to drop a comment below. I love connecting with you all. There will be more gardening content to come, among other things, right? We're all over the place right now, still working on our no demo kitchen refresh. But, as the sun starts to come out and the snow starts to melt away and we start to get outside, we'll share all kinds of things, and I'll definitely keep you posted on how things progress down here once we start to see little green pop up. So thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, click the bell notification so you don't miss out on what's next, and share it with a friend if you think it's something they would like, and I will catch up with you in the next video.